Thanks for having me, everybody. My name is Derek Poyhonen. I've been a corrections officer with the Houghton County Sheriff's Department for the past 15 years. I currently reside in Dollar Bay with my wife Teresa and my 2 children. My campaign is basically going to go on a 2-pronged approach. Everybody knows the drug problem in the area. We need to get rid of it. We need to do everything we can to get rid of it. I would like to get in the schools through education, build a relationship with the kids, carry that over into the higher grades, and that should pay off in the long run. My second part would also be to get some integrity, accountability, and transparency back in the Sheriff's Department itself.
All right, Mr. McLean, opening statement.
Thank you for having us here, the women voters. I'd like to take the introductory phase to introduce myself, because I figured that's what it was for. My name is Brian McLean. I'm a lifelong Houghton resident, graduate of Houghton High School. I've been a certified police officer since 1978. I started my career in the Houghton Police Department at age 19, where I thought I knew everything. Now as I get older, I'm amazed that I even had that attitude back then. But so I worked for 4 years for the city of Houghton, hired on at the sheriff's office in 1982 under Sheriff Rutzela, and then served as a field service deputy for 16 years, ran for sheriff in 1996, and have been sheriff for the past 20 years at the department. So I've done every job at the department and have an understanding of how the county operates. I've been very involved in the community, et cetera, and I'm sure you'll learn more from the questions that come up and then at the end of the discussion here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And you've both probably touched on this, but we'll start with a general question for both of you, starting with Mr. McLean. What would you most like to accomplish if you're elected for this position?
Certainly, as it is across the nation, the largest obstacle that we're facing in law enforcement now is the drug problem. There's no doubt about that. It's finally rare. It's always been in our community. You know, we have a community with 2 colleges, and we're a very vibrant community. But it's really starting to come like a tidal wave, like it has in other areas here. It started with a lot with the prescription drugs and the introduction of the opiates and the prescription drugs, and now as we've tried to, they put a lock on that, both law enforcement and also the medical community. We're starting people to migrate to the illegal drugs, specifically heroin, and that's come to be a problem. When we start to see people losing their lives because of this terrible addiction, that is one of our biggest moving problems right now. And, there are others, and I'm sure we'll get to them. Did you want me to mention more than one problem, or the biggest? That's the biggest, and like I said, we're fighting that problem nationwide here in the United States.
Okay. And Mr. Poyhonen, what would you most want to accomplish if you're elected?
I will reiterate that the drug problem is bad up here. The drugs, along with it comes the crime. They're getting more violent crimes. It's a burden on the community, it's a burden on the jail, it's a burden on everybody. I would like to get into the schools, 2 through 6, build a relationship with the kids, get a junior deputy program going. That will carry on in the upper grades, and that is where I would like to get into the drug and alcohol awareness. It might not pay off right away, but it will pay off in the long run, and eventually that will hopefully reduce the jail incarceration rate.
All right, thank you. All right, we have several questions that are about the jail, but so we'll do those all at once. So Mr. Poyhonen, you're first, and this is the most general one. What do you think should be done regarding the county jail and district court facilities?
The county jail is what it is. That's what we have. The voters have spoken. We need to respect that, the voice of the county. We need to reduce the jail population to make it manageable. And once again, if we get rid of the drug problem, we'll never get rid of it. But if we can minimize it, that will help. We're overcrowded. We're juggling. It's a juggling act every day, and we did it today. You know, the jail. We're not going to get a new one. That's a dead issue. So we have to find an alternative way to work with what we have. The district court, it is antiquated. I would like to see a little bit more police presence when we do have some higher profile stuff, especially the district court. We normally do have a deputy armed for the higher profile circuit court cases, but unfortunately it's probably an accident waiting to happen.
Okay, Mr. McLean, same question.
It seems to always be the topic that does come up in our community, and unfortunately, we've been battling this. Jail studies that go back to 1985. Since I've been in office, we've run through 4 different jail studies, and each has identified that it is a problem, along with other issues. Unfortunately, it's a matter of money, and it's a matter of what the community wants. From my experience, having served with all the sheriffs across the state, there's several other areas too. For Wexford County, for example, for 20 years they housed out to the tune of $750,000 a year annually, housing out in other jails because they're overcrowded. Houghton County Jail has less beds per capita than any other jail in the Upper Peninsula. We've been fortunate to keep it down at that low because we've been very aggressive with community corrections since 1991. We work well with the courts, well with the prosecutor, to keep those out of jail that don't necessarily have to be their first-time offenders for community service, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We always have to ask ourselves, who do you want in jail? Do you want people in jail that you're just temporarily mad at? Or do you want people in jail that you're afraid of? And so we have to have those beds available. Unfortunately, our population in jail inmates is rising, and it rises every year.